Have you ever known a secret? Something really big, something that could change everything. Well, today, we're diving into a secret that could literally be worth millions. This is a special presentation we've put together with the experts at ProTax Accountant, and we're about to unpack a massive change in UK law, one that means HMRC will now pay people, maybe even people you know, to report major tax evasion.
So let's just start with this question. Imagine for a second, you uncover undeniable proof that a company is dodging millions of pounds in tax. Not just a few quid here and there, but a massive deliberate scheme that's costing the taxpayer a fortune. What do you do? Who do you even tell? And more importantly, what's in it for you?
To really get our heads around this, let's follow a story. So this is Alex. Alex is a freelancer in London, brilliant at what they do, and has just landed a fantastic new client. But while digging through the company's files, Alex finds something big, a very clever, very illegal, and very, very expensive tax evasion scheme. Alex is now sitting on a multi-million-pound secret.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with Alex's dilemma. Then we'll look at why, until now, reporting something like this was often a terrible idea. After that, we'll dive into the huge new reward scheme from HMRC that kicks in from the 2025 tax year. We'll even explore how these informants are now officially managed, weigh up the life-changing risks versus the rewards, and finally, we'll break down what this all really means for you. Okay, so let's start with Alex's multi-million-pound secret. This is so much more than just a case of doing the right thing. It's a massive, complicated dilemma. I mean, speaking up could completely destroy Alex's career, right? But staying quiet feels wrong. It means letting millions that should be funding public services just disappear. It's the classic whistleblower's nightmare. The situation Alex is in is incredibly high stakes. The scheme is sophisticated, and you can bet the people behind it are powerful. Reporting this through the wrong channels could mean Alex gets ignored, fired, or even blacklisted in the industry. The personal risk is absolutely enormous. So what are the options? Well, for a very long time, there weren't many good ones at all. Now, to really understand how big of a deal these new changes are, we have to look at the old way of doing things. And honestly, the old system for reporting tax fraud in the UK, it gave someone like Alex very, very little reason to stick their neck out. The rewards were tiny, and the risks were, frankly, catastrophic.
Get a load of this number. In the entire 2024 tax year, HMRC paid out a grand total of just £852,000 to all informants. That's across the whole country for every single tip they received. When you think about the billions with a B that are lost to tax fraud every year, that figure is just, well, it's pocket change. It doesn't exactly scream, "We value your help," does it?
And this is where it gets really interesting. Just look at the difference when you glance over at the US. In that same period, their tax authority, the IRS, paid out over £100 million in rewards. That's more than 100 times what HMRC paid out. The Americans figured out a long time ago that putting serious money on the table gets serious results. Which brings us to the game changer. Starting in the 2025 to 2026 tax year, HMRC is rolling out a brand new reward scheme, and it's directly inspired by that super successful US model. This is a complete overhaul, a total rethink of how the UK targets major financial crime. And for someone like Alex, this changes absolutely everything.
So, how's it going to work? Well, first things first, there's a pretty high bar. This scheme is only for the big fish. HMRC has to recover at least £1.5 million in tax because of the information you provide. So no, this isn't for reporting on Neighbour for a cash-in-hand decorating job. This is aimed squarely at the Premier League of tax evasion.
And here it is, the headline number, the big one. Whistleblowers can now get a reward of up to 30% of the tax that HMRC brings in. Let's just think about what that means for Alex. If that fraud Alex found leads to HMRC recovering, say, £5 million, Alex could walk away with a life-changing £1.5 million. Stay with me. The next point might surprise you.
Okay, here's a pro tip, and this is absolutely crucial to understand. This new scheme is all about intelligence. HMRC isn't expecting you to be an accountant or a lawyer and hand them a perfect case ready for court. No, they want the inside track. You provide the roadmap, you tell them where to look and what to look for, so their investigators can go in and do their job effectively.
That's not all. Here's where most people go wrong. Becoming a paid informant for HMRC isn't just about a sneaky phone call anymore. Under this new system, it's a formal, legally structured process. Let's take a look at the official framework, because it's a lot more organized than you might imagine.
When someone like Alex gives information to HMRC for a reward, they officially become what's known in UK law as a covert human intelligence source, or CIS for short. Now that's not just fancy jargon, it's a formal legal status. The whole relationship is governed by some serious legislation called the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act, which sets out very strict rules.
This whole setup has a very clear chain of command. First, you've got the informant, the chiz. Then, they are assigned a dedicated handler, that's an HMRC officer, who's their day-to-day contact and who's responsible for their safety. And then overseeing the whole thing is a controller, a senior officer who makes sure everything is done by the book.
This just shows how serious the process is. Everything, and I mean everything, is documented. By law, they have to keep detailed records of every single interaction. The initial approval, every task, every phone call, every payment. This is a formal, managed intelligence operation, not some shady, off-the-books deal.
Right, so we've seen the potential reward, and it's huge, millions of pounds. But we have to balance that against the risks, which are very, very real. For Alex, this isn't just about the money, it's a decision that could change the entire course of their life.
And don't just take my word for it. This quote is from Hansard, the official record of the UK Parliament. It says it all, really. Whistleblowing isn't a walk in the park. The personal cost can be enormous. People risk their jobs, their friendships, and face unbelievable stress. This is exactly why the new reward scheme has to be so substantial, to make that massive risk worth taking.
In these statistics, wow, they just show you how stacked the odds have been against whistleblowers. Research shows only about 4% of people who are fired for speaking up actually win their case at a tribunal, and an incredible 40% say their concerns were just flat out ignored in the first place. That's the brutal reality this new financial incentive is designed to overcome.
So, the crucial point is, what does all this really mean for you? Let's boil it all down to the key takeaways. Whether you're an employee, a freelancer like Alex, or you run your own business, this is a fundamental change in how the UK government is going after financial crime. So, to sum it all up, HMRC is now offering massive financial rewards for big-time tax evasion tips. We're talking up to 30% on anything over £1.5 million recovered. The whole system is copied from the incredibly successful American one. If you do provide a tip, you become a formal, legally managed informant called a CHIS. But, and this is important, the personal risks are still very real. The whole point of this is to get better intelligence to fight the most serious financial crimes. Okay, before we finish, just a quick and important disclaimer. The information we've talked about here is for general purposes only. It is absolutely not legal or financial advice, and you shouldn't rely on it to make any big decisions. Before you do anything, you must consult with a professional.
And for that expert advice, whether it's about making sure your own taxes are in order or understanding the complex issues we've covered, we highly recommend contacting the specialist who helped us put this all together, Pro Tax Accountant. You can reach them on WhatsApp or by phone at 07985 689912 or just drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk.
And so we end right where we started, with Alex and that multi-million-pound secret. The whole system has been transformed. The risks are still there, for sure, but the rewards are now potentially life-altering, and the whole process is formalized and protected by law. So the final question is for you. If you were in Alex's shoes, knowing everything you know now, what would you do?